everybody, welcome to the second official One Take Wednesday. I'm really excited about it, but unfortunately I have to start out this video with a few apologies. The first apology is I am so sorry if I cough during this video. If I go into like a straight up intense coughing fit, I'll probably edit it out, but if I just have a few, like one or two short coughs, in the spirit of One Take Wednesday, I'm gonna try to leave it in, just because the whole point is to give me a small editing break. But I know that if you are a headphone wearer and the person on the other end of the audio coughs, it can be an unpleasant experience. So I'm super, super sorry. I don't know if I already said this, but did I say I was recovering from bronchitis? I can't even remember, but that's why I'm recovering from bronchitis. And the second apology is I'm sorry that the acoustics in this room are weird. This is a brand new room slash construction thing in Gray and I's backyard. We moved last year and we moved to be close to family, and we really like the location, but the place that we moved, and the housing market was just wild, as I'm sure all of you, or many of you, are like aware. And so we couldn't find like the perfect place with all the rooms or even a garage that we needed. And so we were like, we'll just, I guess, bite the bullet and build Gray and I an office to share in the backyard. So this is it. But it's, we couldn't afford to, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a pretty cool adult to be able to construct something in the backyard in the first place. But we definitely couldn't afford all the bells and whistles. So we're doing the easy stuff ourselves. So like the subfloor that you see, Gray installed the subfloor themselves. I'm going to install, I'm sitting next to some like vinyl planks. I'm going to install these vinyl planks myself. The painting, the window trim, that'll be a new thing. I haven't done window trim yet. A baseboard to cover the concrete, whatever. Blocks, door trim, all the kind of like more aesthetic DIY stuff we're doing ourselves. But this there was like shortages in like the, lumber and construction industry. So this took really like a year to get up, which was really frustrating because we were stoked to have a place to work faster, but it didn't happen, and that's okay. But it's kind of exciting though, because this is a space dedicated for creation and filming and things. So I'm stoked to have it. And it's cool because Gray works from home, so while the audio might be weird, they're just working like in the living room. It's cool because this is like we can divide spaces, so I can do this, and you don't have to listen to them talk about product marketing in the background. I don't think that would work. And they can still keep working without me being like, hey, when do you have a break between meetings so I can like quickly film something? Anyway, blah, blah, blah. This video is supposed to be about running. So, but in true myself fashion, we're 3 minutes and 28 seconds in and I haven't even talked about running yet. So I have a list on my notes app for some things that I wanted to discuss. This topic was voted on by patrons. So if you want to have a say in like what I chat about on this channel, definitely go to Patreon and check that out. It makes a big difference. I am trying to shift away. I've like decided that for the foreseeable future, watch me not talk about running. Watch me talk about Patreon now. For the foreseeable future, I don't want to do sponsorships. Sponsorships were too complicated for me for a myriad of reasons. Mostly because in order to not make any missteps, you have to do a ton of research into the brand, and no brand is completely ethical because there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. And it just gave me way too much anxiety. That isn't me saying that nobody should do sponsorships. I think people should like get that bag, totally do sponsorships. It was too complicated for me. So I want to step away from sponsorships, and I really want to focus on Patreon as a more stable, reliable income. So if you are interested in supporting that switch that I'm making, definitely go check out and become possibly a part of that community. It makes a huge difference for me and my ability to put out content. So if you kind of like me being back, I definitely urge you to check that out. But on to today's topic, today's voted on subject of running. So if folks have been following me on Instagram, many of you know that for a while I was training for a 10-mile run, and I was posting about it daily, but then I got super sick because my kiddos entered just a teeny bit of childcare. They only go like 2 half days a week, but still it has exposed me to a ton of germs. So there was a week where I, in a 2-week span, and then like there was an overlap of 7 days where I got pink eye, and then I got, strep, which I never had either of those things before in my life. And then the stomach flu. The stomach flu was fast. But anyway, it totally knocked me out, and I stopped training, and then I kind of just like fell off from posting daily on Instagram. But I did train for that 10-mile run, and I did complete it, so I just kind of want to talk about it. So this was a big deal for me because I really enjoy running, but this was me kind of getting back into exercise postpartum. And I want to start this video by sharing some lessons that I learned and then some highlights. So some of the lessons that I learned is this is the first time that I actually followed a structured training plan. So I'm going to put, I know this isn't supposed to be edited, I'm not going to do any like cuts, but I want to put some images up, hopefully. Oh no, I got a cough. Well, since I'm going to be editing it a little anyway, maybe I'll cut that out. And a beautiful sniffle. Yum, I love being sick. So, I followed this 8-week training plan, and one of the biggest lessons that I learned is this is huge. If you can, this makes such a big difference. And I really struggled to follow training plans like this because I really wanted the instant gratification of like running every day and feeling like I was making major progress and feeling good about that every day. But when I would do that, I would, surprise, surprise, I would always overtrain and get injured, and then I would, when that would happen, I would totally lose momentum and motivation, and then I would just quit. So this training plan, I think is my biggest lesson learned, that if you want to get into running, or if you want to see some gains in whatever realm of fitness, definitely like have patience, give your body time to recover, and embrace some balance, because that was another thing that I didn't do. I would just run. But this training plan is super cool. You only run 3 days a week, but I was like running 7 before. It's not a shocker why that didn't really work out. But you only run 3 days a week with this training plan. And then I believe, if I'm remembering it right, because now I'm doing something else, there was like a lower body workout one day, and then 2 like random cross training days. And then there was rest days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that makes 7 days a week, which is really important, because when I would just focus on running, I could feel other parts of my body overcompensating, or parts of my body that should be working while I was running, but they weren't being engaged because I wasn't really working them out. I was just focused on like when I would run, I would mostly rely on like my quads and my hip flexors, but like you really should be using like your core when you run, and a ton of foot muscles. And so by injecting some yoga, some stretching, so that would mostly be what my cross training was, would either be like an at-home weights workout, or I would go to yoga. And it made a huge difference. And the rest days made a huge difference for recovery. But here's the trick. I didn't feel that huge difference until like 4 weeks in. So I really just had to trust the process, because it was hard for me. You know, I've internalized a lot of capitalism, and I think every day should be productive. So those rest days were really hard for me, because there was a part of me that didn't feel like I was being productive, even though I totally think that rest days are productive in their own way. But yeah, and so on those days, I would sit there and really struggle not to like keep making progress. But then like 4 weeks in, I could feel and see how much better I was doing. And I never really consistently trained, I think, for 4 weeks before. And I wasn't even tired, I was ready to keep going. So that was super awesome. So yeah, I think that's like, those are the lessons learned, is follow a kind of structured-ish training plan, be patient, don't overtrain, and then focus on balance. So not just like, if you're focusing on running, that can definitely be like your primary focus, but in my non-fitness professional opinion, it shouldn't be everything, like everything and all things. There are other things that your body is like a holistic unit, and you got to work it all out. Okay, so some highlights. Oh, another lesson I learned is that I am a slow runner. So I have, ever since I started running, like, I don't know, my phone spies on me, I guess, and I get a lot of running TikTok now, and I now see a ton of runners. And I watch this one person who like calls themselves the slow runner, and they run an 11-minute mile, which would be really good for me. And then there was another person who was getting back into running, and they're like, oh, I ran a 10-minute mile. It felt so shitty, but you gotta start somewhere. And I was like, oh my God, that would be amazing. And then I have to remember that I'm postpartum, I'm just getting back into it. And before having babies, I could run like a 9:30-minute mile. I mean, that would be like me pushing it, but I could. But right now, if you are looking for somebody to make you feel better about your running speed, I am that person. Because, so here are my highlights. My fastest mile in the whole 8 weeks of training was 10:47, and I was so pumped that day. I was like, dope! And I'm gonna insert some photos. Oh, and here we go. My longest run without a walking break, so just straight running, was 6 miles. I ran 6 miles without stopping. Very cool. And that day was a 6-mile run, so I ran my whole 6-mile run without stopping, so that was awesome. And I did it at an 11:33 pace, which again, I was pretty fucking stoked about. I thought that was awesome. Usually my comfy place for running a mile, and when I say running, I mean like lightly jogging, is 12 minutes. That's like my comfy place where I live. That's without stopping. If I stop at all to have walking breaks, my miles usually turn into about 14-minute miles. Woo! So I finally did my 10-mile race, and we completed it. We 100% completed it, and we did it at me and my friend, we did it at a 13-minute and 58-second pace. At the very end, we're trying to push super hard just to get under that 14 minutes. And again, not very fast, but boom, I ran 10 miles postpartum, super stoked. And that was 6 months postpartum, I believe. Yep, because I'm 7 months now, and I did it about a month ago. So, I don't know, I was really happy, and I am signed up on May 27th to do my first half marathon. And my friend and I, our goal is to increase the speed. So instead of 13:58, I think it'd be cool to do 13:30. So yeah. Something you should know though, I'm gonna share 2 very paradoxical pieces of information. So as you may have gathered, 13:58 is not very fast. And my friend and I, we placed in the run, Goldie's run, we placed 1640th and 1641st in the run out of I think about 1700. So we only beat like 60 people, but we weren't really viewing it as a race. We were just viewing it as a thing to complete, and we just wanted to beat the sweeper. And I don't even know if the sweeper actually swept people off the race or if they were just, their job was just to be behind the person who finished the race last. But yeah, I'm still actually really proud of it. I think a 10-mile run is an accomplishment. Yeah, and 14 minutes is good. 14 minutes is faster than just walking the whole thing. I'm a slow walker, so it takes me like 18 to 20 minutes to walk a mile. So if it takes me 18 to 20 minutes to walk a mile, and I was doing an average of 14, you know that I just didn't walk the whole thing. This is what I'm telling myself. Anyway, and I was the one who finished last between me and my friend. So I was place 1641st. But you should know that I do qualify for a medal. I didn't know this, but because there are places awarded for folks in certain gender and age categories, I technically got 3rd place, I think. 3rd place? I think it was either like I got 1st in my gender and age category, or I got 3rd place in just my gender category. I don't know, but the whole thing is because there was only 4 people registered as non-binary. Woo! So I get a little 3rd place or 1st, so I get some kind of medal. I'm really stoked about it. I had no idea that was a thing. I also find it actually kind of embarrassing, but I am hilarious. So there you go. Just show up and do your best, and even if your best is not that competitive, you might still win something. But yeah, I have really enjoyed getting back into running. There's something really satisfying and gratifying about getting new like postpartum PRs of like, oh my gosh. So like this next Monday, my friend and I are going to run from one of our houses to the other house, and we live 8 miles away. And that will be pretty cool. Just, I guess it's not really a personal record, but it's an accomplishment. We've never run from one person's house to the other person's house, and I think that's cool. I am excited though to kind of shift gears because this 8-week training program was a lot of running. I know I said it was only, isn't that wild how your perspective can shift? Like I used to think that a normal kind of training was running like 5 to 7 days a week, and then this training program was like only run 3, and already I'm feeling like, oh, that's a lot of running. I kind of want to focus on other things that are more enjoyable, especially since it's getting warm. I want to like go kayaking and stuff. So I'm dialing down from 3 days of running a week just to 2. I hope it's not a mistake, but it's what I think would make me happy. So anyway, what do you do? What have you been up to? Yeah. Thank you for your patience and grace while I get kind of back into these videos. They, oh God, I got a cough again. And it always ends with that big old unflattering sniffle. But yeah, it feels like a stiff muscle to, just like I am retraining my body to get back into fitness physically, it feels like starting videos up again is another thing I have to like, that feels stiff, and then I have to loosen up and retrain and recondition. I lost a lot of video making conditioning and I'm getting back into it. So yeah, thank you so much. So again, this was a Patreon requested subject. If you have any, if you have the means, if you don't do it, but if you have the means and any interest in checking out Patreon, it makes a massive difference. I encourage you to, if you are so inclined. If you're not, that's chill. And yeah, I will see you another One Take Wednesday. Bye.